Some things become exhausted before they're neglected. Others become exhausted because they're constantly being improved. Virgo, you know how to tend to what matters. You notice what's unfinished, what could work better, what someone forgot, what the room needs before anyone else realizes it needs anything at all. There is devotion in this. To care is often to notice, to refine, to make something more whole than it was when you found it. But devotion can slowly become a way of standing outside of your own life, forever adjusting to the conditions instead of inhabiting them. You fix the chair, straighten the picture, prepare the meal, answer the message, remember the detail, and somewhere in the middle of making life more livable, you may forget to ask whether you're actually living inside it. Leo season arrived with a different question. Not what still needs work, but what's already alive. This can be surprisingly difficult, because not everything becomes sacred through improvement. Some things become sacred because they're allowed to exist without being corrected. Joy is one of them. So is the strange, unnecessary thing you love simply because something inside you becomes warmer when you're near it. As the sun moves through Leo with Jupiter enlarging this season's attention to aliveness, that light may reach you quietly. In what happens when no one else is evaluating you? In the creative impulse you've abandoned because you weren't exceptional at it. In the desire that never became practical enough to justify itself. In the part of your life still waiting for permission to matter without becoming productive. Because there's a particular safety in being needed. If you're helping, organizing, supporting, improving, then your place can feel real clear. You know why you're there. But being loved without being useful can feel much more vulnerable. There is nothing to fix in order to secure your belonging. Only the unsettling possibility that your presence might be enough. Leo asks you to remain there for a moment. Not because Virgo should abandon excellence. Craft matters. Discipline matters. Discernment matters. Care matters. Leo isn't asking you to relinquish those gifts. It's asking what they ultimately serve. Because refinement becomes cruel when everything alive in you is treated as unfinished. There comes a point when the work must leave the workshop, when the meal must be eaten, when the garden must be sat in, when the song must be sung before it's been perfected. Otherwise, devotion becomes an endless preparation for a life that never quite begins. And as Virgo moves through, or as Venus moves through Virgo during this part of the season, beauty comes part of the place that you've accustomed to refining. But perhaps beauty doesn't arrive asking to be improved. Perhaps the question is whether you can recognize it before you've perfected it, whether affection can be received before it's been earned, whether pleasure can be experienced before it becomes a reward. Participation requires something refinement can't provide, a willingness to enter before every outcome is known. You can't control the reception of the song before you sing it. You can't know the garden will become before you've gotten a chance to sit inside it. You can't finish becoming yourself before you begin living it. Can you stop working on yourself long enough to meet yourself? There may be places where you genuinely need change, and Leo doesn't deny that. But there may also be places where the search for what remains unfinished has made it difficult to recognize what's already alive. What if the part of you asking for attention isn't another flaw? What if it's a flame? What if it's grown small because every time it appeared you handed it a task? You don't need to turn every gift into a service, every curiosity into a mystery, every joy into something productive before allowing yourself to keep it. Some things are allowed to warm you before they warm anyone else. Virgo, perhaps Leo season isn't asking you to become less discerning. Perhaps it's asking you to discern something that had been overlooked. The difference between what needs refinement and what simply needs room to live. The work will always be there. Another detail, another improvement, another thing that could become better. But a life can't be postponed until it's flawless. The workshop has done what it can. At some point, the door has to open. At some point, you have to step into the light. Not because the work is finished, but because you're alive now.